Hello, Scoop Troop. Welcome back to another episode of the Sober Scoop. I feel like I haven't called our community the Scoop Troop in a while, but I was over on our Facebook online support group that we have, which is called the Scoop Troop, and it just reminded me oh yeah, that's our little name that we have. That's our little squad. So yeah, by the way, little shout out, if you're not a part of our Facebook support group, do consider joining. It's a great place to be. It's a very supportive environment, a place where you can be filter free and ask anything you want. You can seek advice, you can give advice, you can share recommendations. People are in there asking what's a good non-alcoholic wine, or what's a good drink to order when you're at a concert, or any tips for attending a bachelorette party sober. I mean, there are so many good conversations happening in there, so feel free to join. It's called the Scoop Troop, and the link to join is in every episode, the show notes of every episode. So anyway, back to business, baby. Today, we are going to be talking about our why and why it is important to determine your why. I have the I Am Sober app. That is the app that I use to track my sobriety progress. It keeps my day count for me, but it also tracks other cool things like how much money you've saved since you got sober, how many calories you've saved. And when I was in there the other day, I realized that I had written down my reasons for why I want to get sober within this app. And I kind of forgot about that. And this was the first time that I revisited my why since the very beginning. And I feel like my why for why I'm staying sober is different than my why for why I originally got sober. So it was interesting to look back at those and reevaluate. So anyway, I'll share my whys, what I wrote as my whys, and I will encourage you to just think about your why and revisit those and remember those when times are hard. It's always good to keep in mind why you started down this path in the first place. So with that said, let's get into today's episode. Welcome to the Sober Scoop. This is a judgment-free zone where we talk about how to get sober and stay sober. You're not alone. I hope you feel seen. Quitting alcohol is the best decision I've ever made. All right, so I have pulled up the I Am Sober app, and I highly recommend getting this app, by the way. If you are new on your sobriety journey or you've been doing it for a long time, it's a really cool app. It is my favorite one that I've used. And yeah, it keeps your day count. You can also log your urges. I haven't really used that feature, but you can write down when something triggering happened, which I talk about that a lot on the podcast, how it's important to learn from your urges and your triggers and situations where you're feeling tempted. So I think the logging your urge section of this app is probably great to just evaluate a little bit why things are causing you to have a craving and log them so you can remember which things are triggering for you in the future. But anyway, it also has a community tab within the app, which is kind of like the Facebook group that we have, honestly. It is like a forum where you can talk to other people who are at your same stage of sobriety, which is really cool. So if you're on day 4 of sobriety and you open the I Am Sober community tab, there will be a whole feed of people who are also on day 4 of sobriety. How cool is that? I wonder what would happen if I went on right now. I haven't been on this in a very long time. Okay, so I am at the 14-month mark, and it says you and 2,997 others recently reached this milestone. It's kind of crazy to see that number going down, because I remember in the beginning of my sobriety, it would be you and 700,000 others have reached this milestone recently. And now it's 2,997. The number keeps getting smaller, which I don't know if it's because people get off of the app or if unfortunately people don't make it this far. But anyway, so within this app, all the other people who are at 14 months are posting in here. 14 months, let's go. Someone posted a screenshot of their day count. Hey guys, I've been MIA since June. I probably shouldn't be reading these out loud, so I will not. But yeah, people are just like, congrats to everyone. We're riding this ride. I'm 429 days and still going strong. Like, it's just so cool. And to see people who are at the same exact stage that I am. And no matter what stage you're at in your sobriety, you can find people on this app who are at your same stage, which is really cool. So the community tab is awesome. But what we are talking about today is the why. So I scroll down and I see, why am I doing this? And the two answers that I wrote on literally day one of sobriety, I opened this app on the day that I got sober. So I put in my why on that day that I got sober. So it's very interesting to look back on. These are the two things that I put as my why. I said, number one, it's hindering me from accomplishing my goals, both physically and mentally, which totally valid reason. At the point that I finally got sober, I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize myself. Like, I had never looked that way. Not only was I overweight for what I consider my natural body weight to be, and what I've kind of always been. I was overweight for what I was used to. But also the shape of my face. Like, if you even look back at videos on my TikTok page of my early sobriety, I look like a different human being. And that's when I had already been sober for a while. So think about when I was in like the height of my drinking problem. I mean, it really is unrecognizable. My cheeks are so full. My mouth and eyes look small. Like I always say, my smile looks like it couldn't even fit in my face. And now I feel like I have a big, bright smile and wide, beautiful eyes instead of like these beady eyes that barely fit on my freaking head. I didn't look like myself. And all the traits that I had or that were like my, I don't know, signature traits, like things that made me stand out, just kind of got blurred. And like, I was just not looking like myself. And I was, bloated, inflamed. My coloring was off. Like I was very red and kind of flush all the time, like patchy skin tone almost. My stomach was chunky and like this greenish, purplish color, like almost bruising. It was weird. And I didn't like the way that I looked, but beyond that, I knew that I was like hurting my body and my body was screaming at me to make a change. So that's the physically aspect. And then I also wrote, it's hindering me from accomplishing my goals financially. And I think that I wasn't like insanely short on money when I had a drinking problem. But when you total up how much money like I was spending on alcohol, it is alarming. It is absolutely crazy. And I just think how much better that money could be being used. Now I'm using it in better ways. So it's beyond just like, I'm not making enough money, but I'm also just spending my money in this black hole of alcohol. And I think I always say that I drank a lot of times to shut off my mind and like just get a break from my brain. And in sobriety, I don't have a break from my brain, and I'm constantly working on myself. And like if I have a goal in mind or something I want to do, I don't plan it out for 6 months or a year. I just do it that day or that week. Like if I want to get into the gym, I don't think about going to the gym for 2 more weeks before I actually go. The day that I think about going to the gym, I go to the gym. I always say that the day I decided I wanted to make this podcast, I was recording the first episode the next day. So sobriety really does kind of give you that kick in the booty that we need sometimes. And because of the boredom and like restlessness that can happen in sobriety, it's kind of hard to coast in life. It's hard to just be okay with where you're at, which has its positives and negatives. Sometimes I wish that I could just relax and slow down a little bit. I just talked about this in my recent episode called Boredom, where I talked about how I can't seem to just frickin' relax. But on the positive side of things, like I'm able to pursue everything that I want to pursue. All the different projects that I'm working on right now would not be possible with a drinking problem. I would not be able to maintain a 9-to-5 job and a podcast and 3 social media platforms. 3 social media platforms on TikTok and 3 on Instagram. It wouldn't be possible. And so it's kind of exciting that in sobriety, I'm able to pursue everything that I want to pursue. So I think that was part of my why as well. So I'm like, I know that I'm not reaching my potential here. I know there is more to offer. I know that I want to give the world so much more than I am. I just drank away every day, basically. I just drank it away. And there's more life to live. And I guess that was a piece of this first why I'm talking about. Alcohol is hindering me from accomplishing my goals, both physically and financially. Drinking really was a blocker to becoming my best self in a lot of different ways. So that was a big part of my why. But I wrote down a second item for my why. And this one hits home. I remember this time like it was yesterday. I make videos about this all the time because it was such a frustrating aspect of having a drinking problem. So here we go. It says, I got sick of hiding drinking and keeping secrets from family, friends, and my boyfriend. 100. Yeah. That was probably the most exhausting part of having a drinking problem, was trying to hide it from everyone that I knew. It's weird because I feel like I have a good conscience and I'm a true, honest person. And I say how I feel, and I'm raw, I'm real, I'm a realist, I guess you could say. But here I am during my drinking days, like essentially lying to everyone I know. Lying straight to the face of the people that mean the most to me. How did I do that? How did I live like that? And I convinced myself that I wasn't lying to them. Even here, I phrased it as hiding my drinking problem. I didn't say I was lying. I said I'm keeping secrets and hiding my drinking problem, like I'm withholding the truth, not directly lying, right? Like by withholding the truth and avoiding discussing things, you are lying. I'm telling my past self that. I was basically Hannah Montana, baby. I was living 2 separate lives because it was my biggest nightmare for someone to discover that I had a drinking problem. I still to this day don't know if I actually did a good job hiding it or if everyone in my life actually knew that I had a drinking problem. I didn't have that many friends, and my one close friend that I had that lived with me in the city that I was living in, she's so kind and understanding that even if she thought I had a drinking problem, she wouldn't embarrass me or confront me, and I appreciate that from her. But she probably knew that I had a drinking problem. My boyfriend later told me that he recognized I was developing some problems with alcohol. My family didn't live close to me, so I feel like I was able to hide it from them pretty well. But that is really not a fun part about having a drinking problem. The example that I talk about all the time is the trash situation. Because, I would not let my boyfriend take out the trash when he came over. he was such a saint, and he would always offer to take out the trash for me because that's a man's job. He was so nice to offer that, but I would never let him take out the trash. I would say, oh no, don't worry about it. Like, it's all the way down the hall, down the stairs. Like, I'll just do it later. If we even got to that point. Usually the trash would already be cleared before he got there. I would take the trash out every time I went to go get him from the front door because I had to pass the trash chute to go let people into my building. So every time I went to go grab him, I would bring the trash with me and throw it out on the way. Because my trash was usually filled with a dozen beer cans and a bottle of wine, an empty bottle of wine. And those things clinking around together. Yeah, not a whole lot else that could be disguised as. That is straight up bottles and cans. And I didn't want my boyfriend to be like, wow, what is all that? Especially since he may have been over the day before and the trash was empty. So why is it now filled with a dozen beers and a bottle of wine? What happened there? Oh my God, that was my fear. And I remember one time my boyfriend came over unannounced. I forget how he even got in the building because there's no buzzing system or whatever. So he probably just went in with somebody else or something, like followed in after them after they scanned their card or something. And he knocked on my door and I was like, who is that? Oh my God, there are beer cans everywhere. What's going on? And so I quickly try to grab as many as I can. He can probably hear me rustling around in there. Oh my God, that was a moment. I don't even remember if I had drank that morning or something. He showed up in the morning. It was after we had a little argument and he was standing at the door with flowers. How sweet. And I was like, I just need 1 second. I'll be right there. If this is your boyfriend that you've been with for 2 years and you have to tidy up your place before allowing him to come in because it's filled with empty cans. That is so embarrassing. And I feel like I was my truest, realest, rawest self with my boyfriend. And yet even with him, I'm hiding my problem. I just always felt like I never got to be my 100% self. I think that's why I liked being alone so much, is because I could just be my problematic self. I could drink and drink and drink and not be judged and not have to filter myself and not have to look around and be like, how many drinks are other people having? I should probably drink at the same pace as them. I just lived when I was by myself. And anyway, back to the why. Yeah, I got really sick of hiding my problem and keeping secrets from people. From my family, my friends, and my boyfriend, the people that mean the most to me, I'm trying to hide my problem the most from. I didn't care if Joe Schmo, 2 seats down from me at the bar, saw me drinking beers and downing shots by myself at the bar. But I did care what my family, friends, and boyfriend thought of me. And I just tried so hard to make sure that they never saw me in that way. And I do wonder, looking back, if they had caught me drinking in some awful way, if my boyfriend was able to get into my apartment or something and he just walked in without me getting to clean it up first and he saw all those cans sitting there, even though he was literally over the night before, he'd be like, what? What happened? When did you drink all these? And then that would be an intervention. I wonder if that would have sent me into a bigger spiral, of embarrassment and shame, and so I drink more, or if I would have had to confront my problem. I always wonder about that. If I accidentally slipped up and my dad sits in the passenger seat and he sees 4 empty Coors Lights cans coming out from under the seat, and he's like, what are all these doing here? Are you drinking and driving? When did these cans get here? If I had some sort of intervention, I wonder if I would have quit sooner, because I would be like forced to face my problem. But I've always said that in order to get sober, you have to be the one to get sober. And I truly believe that. I don't believe that anybody can want it for you. I truly feel like you have to want it for yourself, and there's no way around that. So, thinking about your why is important, and I do recommend like writing it down somewhere, because even just revisiting this now, I'm like, oh my gosh, like warms my heart a little bit to think that I've created this new life for myself with those things in mind. Like I knew why I was doing that. I didn't want to be the way that I was any longer. So I quit and I made a change for my life, and it like makes me happy to look back at my why and remember why I did all of this. And how I kind of fixed everything that I said that I was going to do. Like, okay, let's go through my whys. I wasn't accomplishing my goals physically. Okay, well, I've lost 50 pounds and I have a toned body because I work out. I know that I'm healthier from the inside because I don't have liver pain anymore. I'm so much healthier. I have like a jawbone and cheekbones again. I'm not that big ball of inflammation. I look like myself again. I recognize the person in the mirror again. I'm like, oh yeah, this is me. I feel like this is my natural weight. It's what I'm meant to look like. It's not the version of me that is so just drowning in booze. So, alcohol was hindering me from accomplishing my goals physically. Boom. I have since fixed that. Financially, I'm still working on that, to be honest. I'm not like thriving financially as much as I would like to be. I'm trying to manage a lot of different things at once, and I feel like I'm a mile wide but an inch thick, and I almost need to like dive into something to see some actual financial growth. But beyond finances, I have built, this beautiful network with you guys, this sobriety platform that I think is helping so many people, and that goes way beyond the finances. But even a year ago, like I would kill to be in the position that I am today. I got a new job. I got into a new apartment. I'm paying off some debt that I had. So yeah, although I'm not financially thriving yet, I think that I'm like placing the stepping stones towards thriving financially. And I think that's all that matters. I'm still working on that, for sure. But I'm on my way. Whereas when I was just drinking my life away, I wasn't going to get there, ever. I was never going to accomplish my goals. And then we look at the hiding drinking and keeping secrets from my family, friends, and boyfriend. I don't keep secrets anymore. In fact, I don't have any secrets that my family doesn't know about. It's kind of crazy. And I just live my life. It's a very freeing feeling to not have to hide parts of yourself. Like, my mom gets in the car and I wasn't expecting her to. Okay? I'm not freaking out about, oh my God, do I have White Claw cans in the passenger cup holder? Or a guest comes over unexpectedly. Okay, I might be a little embarrassed that my house isn't tidy, but I know for a fact that there's not beer cans in the shower and a White Claw under the bed and a trash bin full of beer cans and wine bottles. I just feel comfortable. If somebody asks me, how was your night last night? What did you do? I'm not thinking of some crazy lie to tell them about how I had a self-care night and watched a movie and did a face mask when I was really drinking 12 beers, ran out of my 12 pack, had to drunkenly walk to the Bevmo to get 12 more, but then the fear of running out was so strong that I also got 2 bottles of wine. I don't have to make up some story about how I spent my evening because I'm so embarrassed of how I actually spent it. I get to be honest. I'm like, what did I do last night? Oh yeah, I took a walk around the block and I listened to this podcast and I watched this movie and I ordered Thai food and it was really fun. You know, I don't have to think about the lies, and I don't have to keep up with the lies that I've told people in the past. Like, what did I tell her that I was doing that day? Shoot, did I say this or did I say that? Now it's going to be inconsistent. Now they're going to think I was lying. Like, there's no games. Oh my God. Having a drinking problem is so tiring. I made a video on social media that was like, POV, you invite an alcoholic to a winery or to a wine tasting. And my brain was like, okay, if I drive there, well, I'm not going to get that drunk at the wine tasting, so I should bring a couple beers to chug in the parking lot before I go in. But then my friend is going to judge me for driving myself home when I've done the wine tasting. Little does she know I'm actually hammered from having the beers before. Maybe we should Uber, but then that's too expensive, and then I can't pregame, and then I'm going to want to keep drinking after the wine tasting because once I start drinking, I'm not going to want to stop, and I'm going to want to get more of a buzz. And then, oh my God, like my brain was just doing gymnastics. It's so tiring. The logistics of having a drinking problem are so complicated. You have to plan out everything. And now it's like, if I want to go out and meet some friends and go dancing or something, I can literally just get in my car and go. I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to think about how am I going to get home or how many of us can fit in the Uber or this, that, the other thing. There's no coordination. I get in my car and I just go there. How am I going to get home afterwards? I'm going to drive myself home because I know for a fact that I will not have any drinks. I'm not scared that the police are going to pull me over and I'm going to get a DUI because I won't have alcohol in my system. I mean, it's just so nice to like trust yourself and live honestly out in the open and be a part of this world as your truest self. It's a really good feeling. So that was a big part of my why. And now I do live in that true, authentic way, and it feels amazing. Maybe your why is for your kids. You want them to grow up with a present mom. You don't want to show up hungover to their soccer games anymore. Maybe you want to be a present wife or husband. Maybe your partner's had to deal with your drinking antics, your drunk nights, your hangovers, your, verbal, whatever you want to call them, altercations when you're drunk. Maybe you want to be a better friend or a more present family member to your extended family. Maybe your why is you don't like your life, you don't like your job, you don't like where you're at, and you need to improve it. And so to prioritize that stuff, you can't have alcohol weighing you down. Maybe your why is your health. That was a big one for me. I didn't write it down, but I was starting to have pain in my upper right abdomen, which, one Google search will tell you that that's not a good thing if you're a heavy drinker. So maybe you want to get your health in order. Maybe you want to lose weight. Maybe you want to literally become more beautiful. Like get a snatched face and better skin, hair, and nails. Maybe your why is financial. You're spending too much money. Isn't it crazy, by the way, that we always find room in the budget for alcohol? Like, I think about in my previous job, I was making even less than I do at this job. Okay? And yet, I found money for booze somehow. How did I do that? There was always room in the budget for booze. It wasn't even like I budgeted it. I mean, that was just cost of living. That was just to exist. I need to spend, whatever it is. $300 a month on alcohol, probably more than that. That would be $10 a day. I think I put that I spent $20 a day on alcohol. That's probably more accurate. So $600 a month. How did I always have that available? By the way, in this I Am Sober app, it also says money saved. So since I got sober, June 20th, 2024, it says I've saved $8,940. Wow. Of course, I've spent some money on expensive adaptogen drinks and non-alcoholic beers here and there, but it's nowhere close to that number. I can tell you that right now. So that's a lot of money saved. What should I buy? Well, I'm going on a cruise for my 30th birthday, so maybe I'll get myself the suite. I'll upgrade. No, I don't. I think sometimes you can just enjoy having not spent the money, and you don't have to go spend it somewhere else. So anyway, nearly $9,000 saved in a little over a year. Pretty good. Calories saved. How about this? 357,600 calories. Basically 350,000 calories I have not consumed in alcohol. Think of all the times that I've reached for a sparkling water instead of a Coors Light. Coors Lights are pretty low calorie compared to a lot of alcohols, but they're still significantly more than any of the drinks I drink these days. I'm having a Hi-Yo right now, one of my favorite adaptogen drinks. This is the passion fruit tangerine flavor. And this is my treat. This is my sweet treat. I love it. Makes me so happy. They're not that cheap, but they're so good. And this is 30 calories with 5 grams of sugar. Okay? 30 calories for my sweet treat. And I used to just down 100-calorie Coors Light after 100-calorie Coors Light over and over and over again. I mean, that adds up. When I'm having 12 beers in a night, that is 1,200 calories just in empty beer calories. Do you know how much you'd have to eat of like chicken breast and cottage cheese to get up to 1,200 calories? It's actually wild to think about, and all those beers offered no nutritional benefits at all. Isn't that wild? What was it? Now I'm so fixated on nutrition and like passionate about it, where I'm like, I want to know what my calories are doing for me. Like, I'm not afraid of calories. I eat quite a bit. I have to fuel my body, and I'm trying to build muscle and all this stuff. But I want those calories to work for me. I want them to have vitamins, protein, stuff that's good for your brain health or your skin or whatever. Like, I'm interested in how my calories work for me. And the old me used to just drink 1,200 calories in emptiness. Just stuff that did nothing for me. I actually can't believe I did that. But, such is life. So, figuring out your why, I think, is important, not only for the beginning and getting started, but also to revisit throughout your journey. So if you've been sober for a while, think back to why you originally did that and see how your life has changed. For me, when I read these whys that I wrote down, it's like, yeah, I fixed that. I fixed what I wanted to fix. I'm better physically. I'm getting better financially. I don't lie anymore, and I don't hide my drinking problem anymore. Like, I accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish, which is really pretty cool, pretty special. So take a look at your whys, or just think about them, and look how much you've changed already, whether you're 5 days sober or 5 months sober or 5 years sober. I'm sure you can see some change and some progress towards accomplishing what you wanted in your why. So it's very exciting. We're making good choices for ourselves. Isn't that a good feeling? Like, we want to better ourselves. We want better lives for ourselves, for our children, for our families, whoever. And so we did it. We didn't just think about doing it. I mean, I thought about doing it for 1.5 years before I finally did get sober. But the fact of the matter is, I did it. And you did too, probably, if you're listening to this, or you're planning to soon. So you got this, guys. Stay sober, and I'm so glad you're here. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast. If you're enjoying the show, that's the only way that I know you're liking it. It's the way I track success on this podcast, and it's the way we grow, so I really appreciate it. And with that said, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you for the next episode. Bye.